Welcome to Bad Movie Down, and as Happy Madison Month continues, I think it's only fair to review a film produced by the company that hasn't actually got Adam Sandler in it, because then you know it's quality! So get out your favourite bong for Strange Wilderness! Now, as I'm sure many of you know, Adam Sandler got his proper start on Saturday Night Live during the early 90s before transferring into film. The head writer at SNL at the time of Sandler's tenure was Fred Wolf, who was in that position from 1991 to 1997, and I don't think it should be a surprise when I tell you that Wolf is part of the Happy Madison circle, mostly as a writer, and has contributed to several of their films, such as Joe Dirt, Dickie Roberts' former child star, and the two Grown Ups movies. In the 90s, Wolf and fellow SNL writer Peter Gorky, whose credits include Black Knight, Say It Isn't So, and The Baby Makers, so you know he's good, made a series of independent video shorts that spoof nature shows called Strange Wilderness, which aired on Comedy Central, and made with the assistance of John Burrard, whose father Bill made such shows until his death in 1990. Wolf and Gorky wanted to expand this idea into a feature, but they didn't have much luck until they sent their script to Adam Sandler and his producing partner Jack Garaputo, who set up the film at Happy Madison and Level 1 Entertainment, who had teamed up previously for similarly aimed cult stoner flick Grandma's Boy, a vehicle for Sandler's longtime buddy Alan Covert, who was also one of the leads here. With Fred Wolf making his debut as director, Strange Wilderness was shot in 2006. And then sat on a shelf. Although Fox was slated to release it, it was picked up by Paramount instead, who obviously knew they had a stinker on their hands when their logo only appears at the very end of the film, just like how Fox didn't put its logo on Epic Movie. Further evidence of shame is that the film was released on Super Bowl weekend in the US, which is usually a weekend studios dump out bombs or female-aimed counter-programming, playing on just over 1,000 screens, which is small for a wide release without press screenings. Result? Well, for a start, no one saw it. It didn't even break the top 10 at the box office in its first weekend. The critical response from those who ventured out to see it was even worse. It has a perfect 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and an abysmal 12 out of 100 on Metacritic, shared with Happy Madison's The Master of Disguise. This didn't just get ranks in Worst of the Year list, it got ranks in Worst of the Decade. In 2009, Rotten Tomatoes listed it as the 7th worst reviewed film of the noughties, and it fared little better at Metacritic as the 24th. Wolf has directed another film, Happy Madison's The House Bunny, which was also released in 2008, but seems to have moved back into writing instead. So if you ever get a trivia question asking what was the first Happy Madison production to get a perfect 0 on Rotten Tomatoes is, it wasn't Bucky Larson Born to Be a Star, it was this thing. I would like to remind you at this point that The Master of Disguise has a 1% on Rotten Tomatoes, so even looks down on this film. The film begins with stock footage clips of Bill Burrard, who is meant to be the father of our lead character Peter, played by Steve Zahn, who took over his show, the titular Strange Wilderness, when he died, but unfortunately wasn't blessed with the same skills as his father. A similar sense of disappointment could be expressed about Zahn in the role, who is an actor who I really like and I think is genuinely talented. And if you need proof of that, watch his devastating performance as a POW in Werner Herzog's Rescue Dawn, which was the film he did right before this one. The problem is that Zahn also has a taste for really awful comedies. Saving Silverman, aka Evil Woman, National Security, Management. Cads, man! I mean, I can understand why he did this movie. A lot of actors, after a particularly tough role, go for something lighter directly after, which are usually terrible, which is why you have so many post-Oscar slumps. But come on, Steve, you're making Daddy Daycare look respectable! You're barely 80 seconds in before you get the first spliff, so at least they're letting the audience know who they're aiming for. Much of the film takes a framing device of Peter talking to a fan of the show on the phone, explaining what happened, and hang on, who the hell is he talking to on the phone, and how'd they get his number? No, seriously, we never see the other person on the other end of the line, and this goes completely nowhere, and it could have very easily been a voiceover. It's like they suddenly realised, oh shit, we forgot to film any semblance of a plot! The film properly begins with Peter about to film with his crew, a cast full of depressingly talented people literally wasted, including future Academy Award winner Jonah Hill's Cooker, who looks confused as hell, which probably accounts for why why he's got a woeful southern accent, Academy Award winner Ernest Borgnine as veteran cameraman Milos, and future Razzie nominee Alan Covert as soundman Fred Wolf. Oh, did I mention that Peter's surname is Gorky? Ahem. Presumably this is a reference to the original shorts where they played themselves, but it doesn't really make much sense when they're played by actors that look and sound nothing like them.
Fred, you get the stuff? This is a bar napkin. Our entire voiceover for our show on Bears is written on a cocktail napkin.
Yeah, we wrote it last night at PJ Mahoney's.
Bears derive their name from a football team in Chicago. No, it's the other way around. Jesus Christ, Fred, come on.
Oh, Peter, don't judge too harshly. That's probably what the script for this film was written on after all. New to the group is Miles' nephew Junior, played by Justin Long, who is perpetually stoned out of his mind and keeps ruining the takes with his bong smoke. I think the filmmakers might be trying to tell me something. I should also mention that around the time of this film, Justin Long also appeared in a direct-to-video movie called The Sasquatch Gang, which means he's definitely cornered that small stoner Bigfoot niche market that everyone's been clamouring for. Despite their low budget and decrepit equipment, they persist in spite of these setbacks, including recording voiceover narration littered with nonsense and incorrect facts over ancient nature footage.
Bears derived their name from a football team in Chicago. Brown Bears blubs... God, why am I having so much trouble saying brown?
Maybe it's the two B's in brown bears. Try something different.
Red Bears love fish.
Pete, you're late for your meeting with Lawson down at K-Pip.
Deb, we're in the middle of a recording session, so every fucking thing you say is going down on tape.
Oh, right, like you guys ever care about that crap?
Why did he say the Bears are named after a football team in Chicago line when he already discounted it in the previous scene? And apparently leave every single one of their flubs in because, you know, they've never heard of basic editing apparently. I'm actually being harsh because these nature scenes are for the most part the best thing in the film because some of these lines are occasionally humorous. It's basically riffing MST3K style, and it's not a surprise they work because they're essentially what the original shorts were, often being used as cinematic sticky tape to barely hold scenes together. Is it any wonder why the laughing shark is what most viewers take away from the film?
Man, look at that thing's teeth.
It's remarkable that the greatest compliment I can give this film is also its biggest insult. I didn't like any actual film bits, but I like the voiceover on cheap animal clips. It just underlines how much expanding this meager premise was a total mistake, and they could have just uploaded these bits on YouTube and cut their losses, because at least then more people would actually see it than the film. It doesn't help their station chief, Ed Lawson, played by Jeff Garlin, is trying to get a rival nature show led by Sky Pearson to replace them, who are a bunch of Sandler-esque cartoon douchebags in case you aren't clear that you're supposed to dislike them. Although it's not like our protagonists are any better since we're shown hilarious clips of their 3M show, which often sees them being racist, insensitive, or both.
Take a look.
Oh my God!
Luckily, we caught it on tape, so that man will be honored.
All right, what about this?
Jesus doesn't live here anymore.
A guy on fire at a peace rally. Did you guys ever think of putting the cameras down and helping the guy out? And what was that music playing? Some sort of Jesus music underneath? Was that at the rally? Did you add that?
Well, no, they didn't add that music because it's a clip from Faces of Death. I think a more pertinent question would be, why the hell is there footage for a peace rally in a wildlife show? And where is the network censor allowing people's deaths to be broadcast over the air? And why haven't they been yanked off already? To answer that last question, they're told that they've got a fortnight before the show is cancelled. I wasn't aware that sort of thing required a 2-week notice, but hey, whatever instigates this shambolic excuse for a plot?
Hey, Junior, how about you? Fresh blood, you got any ideas? Hey!
No.
Dude, what is on your eyes?
I smoked some weed the other night, and I think this shit was lace because I went out right away and got these tattoos on my eyelids to make it look like when I was sleeping that people would think that I was awake.
Who wants to bet those tattoos will magically disappear after this scene?
Locked and loaded, over out, let's go. Oh, shit.
Of course they are, because this film presents a massive middle finger to continuity. Luckily, Luckily, a probable solution doesn't require any effort on their parts because one of Peter's dad's friends, Bill, played by Joe Don Baker, has found Bigfoot in Ecuador, but unless they give him $1,000, he'll give the map to Pearson. Why Ecuador of all places? Aren't most Bigfoot sightings in the Pacific Northwest? What, did he cross the border to take a holiday?
These are great.
Yeah.
I think you just saved the show, you son of a gun. Have a doggone it. I don't think I'm going to make the big run, fellas. I just can't.
What?
But Numbnuts here will run your camera for you.
I understand. I'm gonna miss you.
I'll miss you too.
I know Ernest Borgnine was in his 90s when this film came out, but they couldn't have thought of a better excuse to write him out than, I'm a bit old. Although, that being said, Borgnine has chosen to leave at the right moment, and takes whatever dignity the film had with him. They set up interviews for an animal handler. Why the hell don't they have one of those already? The applicants include Broken Lizard's Kevin Heffernan as Whitaker.
I don't really have any experience in your field, per se. I don't know, I just really need a job, so.
Can we think about it?
Yeah, and not very hard. You really needing a job is depressing.
Jesus, man, a month on the road with this guy, I'd shove an exhaust pipe through my fucking heart.
Why don't you, go make a blues album?
Yeah, you could call it I'm a Poor Little Sad Sack. No job.
These guys are tremendous assholes, but they're not even funny assholes. They're just being mean and nasty to someone they look down on. That's not wit, that's callousness. And it goes on through the rest of this scene.
Next!
I don't want the job. Thank you.
Next applicant!
No, thank you. Maybe you can offer the job to a crazy person.
Next!
You're off the chart nuts!
Next!
And rude!
I really don't get what they're trying to do here. The applicants keep turning them down because they're dicks, but they don't actually react to them. They just scream next at their poor female assistant. Where are the jokes in that? Aside from their moronic yelling, that doesn't count. So they hire Whitaker as he was the only one who wanted the position, which he gladly accepts despite being insulted to his face. Also joining them is travel agent Cheryl, played by Ashley Scott, filling the role of token hot female to be lusted over. So they set off in their trusty RV, and it becomes increasingly clear the actors were given free rein to improvise whatever the hell they felt like, because it does feel like a bunch of people prattling about, trying desperately to be amusing but failing miserably. Even when you have a bunch of talented improvisers and comic talent, you still need at least some structure to fall back on. Otherwise, all you're left with is a bunch of people floundering. And I don't think the stuff in the film is the best tapes, if you know what I mean. Along the way, they encounter some sea lions, as you do, and decide to film some footage, with crew member Danny, played by Sandler hanger-on Peter Dante, getting into a seal costume to get better angles, apparently. Yeah, I'm sure they shot all this grainy footage.
But to get closer to these remarkable creatures, we put our driver, Danny Gutierrez, in a sea lion costume. Unfortunately, after only a few seconds, Danny was attacked by a shark. Oh, fuck! Oh, no, no, no! Leave him alone! No, get off me! He's my friend!
Given that this is in a voiceover that's recorded and edited later and not actually live, why the hell are you making fun of your friend getting eviscerated by a shark whilst no one goes to help him? Seriously, what the hell, bro? They thankfully take him to a hospital rather than laugh as he bleeds to death, and outside they spot a bug and decide to film. Yes, a bug on a pavement. This is a tenuous excuse for a horrible gag, isn't it?
Hi, we're trying to do a shoot here, and we were just wondering if you could maybe stop honking the horn until we're finished.
I stop honking for $100, okay?
Let me handle this. I speak the language of their people.
Donde excuse me, it's time to stop the horn from honking.
Really? We're gonna make the fact that Peter is a racist a running gag now? Although, that being said, he does do a mean Speedy Gonzales impression. Peter and Fred piss off the Hispanic thug, who promptly gives him a low rider to the face, and I was amused by Fred's stunt double's mustache coming off. This ends up knocking all their teeth out and are flat broke after the cost of having them fixed. Luckily, Junior steals some nitrous from the dentist, which goes on the street for $1,000, so they decide to use that to fund the trip. Or not, because in the very next scene it starts leaking, which results in the entire RV getting high and having a huge party rather than suffocating to death. So basically that bit about them potentially getting the cash was a complete waste of a minute of screen time. It's like they knew this bit was lame, but they couldn't cut it out, so they edited it to the bare minimum. That being said, if they applied this logic to the rest of the film, it would only be 10 minutes long. They finally make it to Bill's house in order to get the map, even though they're 3 days late somehow, and they don't have $1,000 to pay for it anyway. Naturally, Bill has given the map to Pearson already, but decides to help them anyway because the plot says so. It turns out Bill is so paranoid he's filled his home with security cameras and is going to make a copy of it by taking a photo of it from the footage. That's not how that works. Ignoring the fact that he's not even holding the map straight, if you zoomed in on it and printed it out, all you get is a pixelated shit heap. Maybe that's why the map that Pearson's holding and the one that's printed out are two completely different maps. Nice continuity, guys.
Hey, did you see that?
Oh, that's just me saying goodbye to the wife before I went out hunting.
Back that up.
Okay. Where? What the hell's she doing? Hey, that's Pearson.
Oh, God, no.
Damn it, man. No one fools around with Mitchell's wife and gets away with it. I'm gonna get me a beer and a 2x4 and show him what for. Vowing they get revenge on Pearson for him, Bill also throws in a little something extra by offering them an expert tracker called Gus Hayden for $500, which means they have another money goal to arbitrarily drive the plot. As they lament their money woes, Peter goes off for a piss. Why doesn't he just go in Bill's house right there? Oh, so his penis can get gobbled up by a turkey. Yes, this is one of the film's comedic high points, relatively speaking, as there's a whole sequence where doctors and the crew try to figure out how to resolve this delicate situation. By the powers of contrivance, it turns out the turkey is part of a government experiment that went missing with a $500,000 reward, so they just decide to yank it off after all that pointless improvised chatter. So remember folks, when you're having a tough time, just remember to yourself, well, at least I haven't had to trade my dignity by pretending a turkey's deep-throating my cock. And that means today is a good day. So they make their way towards the border, but they get stopped. Remember the Speedy Gonzalez voice? Well, that was so funny, they do it again. The result is that their RV is completely torn up and destroyed, and they do a thorough examination of Peter. This gag is weird actually, because it's only suggested that happened, but they never really elaborate on it and just move on. Almost like there's a punchline missing. And speaking of how to write jokes...
I need to tell you something.
What, you're quitting?
No, I'm not quitting. It's actually the opposite. I took this job because I needed it, but I also took it for other reasons. You know, I figured a trip into the jungle would be a kind of a forced sobriety for me, and that's something I really need in my life. My name's Bill W., and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Bill.
A couple days ago, I took my last drink, and then I did yesterday, and, well, God willing, this will really be the last one.
The movie really wastes its characters through crappy writing. For example, Whitaker is a recovering alcoholic who constantly drinks. That's a character description, not a joke in itself. And the same goes for Junior, a guy who's high all the time. They're just a bunch of shoddy sketch archetypes they've forgotten to write gags for. They're not funny by one trait alone. Maybe that's why we're resorting to infantile humour like Cooker shocking people with a joy buzzer as a running gag. This feeling only increases when they go by plane to South America, whilst in no way looking like they've even left California.
Strange Wilderness?
That's us.
It is so nice to meet you.
By the way, my name's Dick.
Dick what?
Just Dick.
Like Cher, but Dick.
Dick.
Dick. You like your name? You like Dick?
I don't want to get started off on the wrong foot with you guys.
Does your name ever shrink if you go in cold water?
Snicker one more time, I'll kick your balls up in your fucking neck.
Check.
This movie just had a scene where we're supposed to laugh because a man's name is simply Dick. You know, another term for penis. And we're expected to find this funny because for some reason the characters think this is hysterical. We're not 12 years old. This is so lame that even juvenile feels like an understatement. Dick leads them off on the trail where they meet the much-hyped tracker Gus Hayden, played by Robert Patrick. He's got quite a few stories as the group makes the mistake of comparing scars with him.
About 10 years ago, I was scouting out a location for a mining company in the Amazon when I was ambushed by a tribe of Aloha pygmies. They tied me to a post and did to me what they do to all white men. They cut my scrotum with a sharp stick, then they ran away. My testicles unraveled down to the ground. I scooped up my testicles from out of the dirt, rolled them up, shoved them back into my sack, and then sewed it shut myself.
Looks like a quilt.
What is with the massive scrotal trauma in this film? It's a sign that things are real lowbrow when there are 2 sets of mutilated man parts on display. I'm surprised that Peter doesn't compare his turkey scars to Hayden's patchwork genitals. It appears in this wilderness the penis is the endangered species. They wake up the next morning to find that Gus is gone and has stolen all their possessions, including Cheryl. Oops, I mean that Cheryl is missing too. What fantastic writing! Oh, here's this guy who's an expert tracker and he's a battle-hardened psychopath, so he has some kind of potential. Well, too bad, because he's gone after one scene and never seen again. Bye! Despite not even having the map at their disposal, the group decide to continue onwards regardless, and it turns out that Cheryl didn't go with Gus.
Why did you leave me back there?
We thought you ran off with Gus Hayden.
Gross. I'd want to fuck even you guys before I'd want to fuck him.
Hey, all right.
Because I woke up and he was stealing all our stuff, so I pretended like I wanted to go with him, and I convinced him to give me this.
You convinced him?
I took one for the team.
So you saw him stealing the group stuff, but didn't bother to alert anyone, just let him do it? Also, you deny having sex with him and then go on to say that you had sex with him. It's nice to see the dialogue contradicts itself within the same scene. So the hunt for Bigfoot is back on, like it even matters because they don't have any of their equipment, but I digress.
I know a secret quick way through this jungle, and we can get to Rocky Cliffs and maybe cut off Pearson. Now, here's what you're gonna do. Oh my God! Oh God!
Oh God! You know a movie's hysterical when it has not one, but 2 scenes of people being devoured alive played for laughs. Comedy! And here's the joke that whole Dick character was clearly building towards.
We were gonna make it. And then these bastards ate dick.
How's it feel to get eaten, fish fuckers?
You think we'd just let you get away with eating dick? Fuck you!
These are the fish that ate Dick, right?
Yeah.
If Dick is in the fishes, doesn't that mean we're eating Dick?
What the fuck?
So they're eating the fish that ate Dick, which is kinda sorta cannibalism, but they're also eating Dick, which is another word for penis. See, it works on so many levels. It's clever. In a really dumb sort of way. Cheryl soon after makes a grisly discovery. It turns out that Pearson and his entire crew have been brutally slaughtered by a native tribe, and the still alive Pearson has been cut in half and spends his last dying moments talking to Peter. Holy crap! I know they're typically OTT Sandler film jerks, but that doesn't mean they have to die hideous deaths. This dark turn is really out of place. Why does a supposedly goofy, light-hearted comedy have so many fatalities in it? They pick up Pearson's equipment and continue their trek, and they eventually reach the supposed cave of Bigfoot, and they get ready to record this monumental moment.
I'm Peter Galkey. It's a strange wilderness. We're waiting to film Bigfoot. Perhaps his gentle ways remind us that peace and harmony are necessary if mankind is to survive.
Oh,
What?
Huh? Oh, fuck!
What? They spent the entire movie searching for Bigfoot, and then 10 seconds after seeing him, they shoot him to death? This is a total waste of any comedic potential, and it makes the entire preceding movie completely bloody pointless. But then again, why should I even be surprised when any plot development is usually negated by the very next scene? This whole movie is a waste of time. After just presenting a giant middle finger to the audience for the stupidest of all possibilities, the movie limply continues along anyway as they decide on a plan B. Stage it to make it look like Bigfoot committed suicide. Despite the fact they, you know, did find Bigfoot and all, and that would be a big deal, this needless to say doesn't go down well with the station and they're fired. This is what finally implodes the group as they all start attacking each other and destroying the station, discussion, which leads us back to the awkward framing device a year later, as Miles drops by to pay Peter a pep talk.
I just couldn't hold it all together.
You know what I've always been wanting to tell you? All the times you were beating yourself up. Times were different then. It was easier. Your old man could never have survived today. I loved your dad, you know that. But he didn't have the tenacity and the heart that you had.
The tenacity and heart? What bollocks! The guy is a dumb, lazy, cynical pothead who picked up absolutely none of his father's talent, knowledge, or experience and puts out a show that sullies his memory with incompetence and idiocy. Don't make me feel sorry for someone who's entirely in this position because he didn't even try. Miles reminds him that all he needs is one good idea, and Peter is hit with an epiphany. Make a show about sharks! Peter gets all the gang back together again and they film their new show, storming into Lawson's office to show him it. Given they destroyed his office and the police had to be called in, they wouldn't even make it 2 steps in the building, let alone show him anything. The show depicts them getting revenge on the shark that attacked Danny as they all start chowing down on rotten milk and eggs, leading to one of the worst CGI shots ever put on film, intentional or otherwise.
Hey, Shark! We got something for you, you fucking asshole! Yeah.
Oh my god,
Well, the world is certainly a dumber place for having that image in it. I certainly feel lightheaded after seeing that, which I think means I might have lost several IQ points. Or that could just be nausea.
How'd that shit taste? I did it!
People love shark attacks. Besides, Pearson's dead, so you're back on the air.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes, that really is how the movie ends. It closes with yet more mutilation, an arbitrary wrap-up, and an outtake. This isn't a resolution, it's a sudden stop 78 minutes in. And yeah, it's a fitting ending with everything that came before it. We don't know how to end this, but who gives a shit? We're having too much fun to care. Strange Wilderness is basically a celebration of stupid, ignorant people who are too lazy to even make an effort but still feel a sense of entitlement regardless. What little characterization there is annoying and obnoxious, especially the 2 leads. And that's a real shame because this is an absolutely fantastic cast, but they're all terrible here. Even Steve Zahn resorts to shouting and overacting when he's not coasting, and it squanders his talent. But then again, you can't turn a sow's ear into a purse, especially when large chunks are clearly just improvised with no direction whatsoever. The whole thing looks and feels cheap and ugly, and somehow scenes run too long even when the film barely scrapes around 80 minutes. Even as a stoner comedy, this is poor stuff because the good ones in their subgenre, your Harold and Kumars and Cheech and Chongs, are genuinely funny and don't require you to be baked to find them so. There's always that old trap that you're enjoying each other's company so much that it doesn't rub off on the audience, and Justin Long hits that in his sort of defense of the film. The first few times I saw it, I loved it, and I don't often see movies I've done multiple times, but I kept going. And then I saw it once when I wasn't stoned, and I was like, whoa, this is a mess. This doesn't make a shred of sense. But stoned, it's the funniest, and I think I have so much love for it because it's the most fun I've ever had shooting. So does it deserve its 0%? It's really, really bad, but it's not quite the same level of agonisingly awful as, say, Fat Slags or The Master of Disguise. That doesn't mean I recommend the trek by any means. I'm Matthew Buck, beating down bad movies everywhere.